Hello, Earthlings. I condemn the delusion of white superiority, which has created these white supremacist assholes who just stormed the Capitol building of the United States of Hypocrisy. America called. She ain't want to be associated with us no more. Shit. You know, I did a bit in May. Mexicans go and build a wall. They want to keep our toilet paper hoarding, gun buying asses out of their lovely, spacious country. I bet the Canadians up there trying to figure out how to chainsaw themselves apart from us. Yes, they are. I bet the Canadians, they are up there going, all right, yo, hey, what if we all just get some chainsaws? They're all focused on the southern border. They didn't even know about us. Let's just chainsaw, cut America fucking loose. I got jokes. That was a pretty good one. Okay. I flubbed the intro a little bit. I was thinking back. In fact, I've been doing jokes. That one was on Periscope. That's what threw me off the timing. I was like, I don't know. I don't think it's on even YouTube. It's only on Periscope. And I did a joke back in the day. I mean, seriously, the Mexicans, when after coronavirus hit, they might as well just pay for the wall, keep our stank asses up right the fuck up here. They got a better chance than we do at this point. All right. My name is Deb Halford. Did I do that? Hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. In order to make humanity humane for the first time, in order to basically understand that it's a failing civilization, someone's got to furnish her with life-centric thinking. And that'll be me as the founder of hashtag wellbeing philosophy. I've learned an enormous amount being totally isolated from humanity for a decade. A virtual hermit living in pandemic conditions for 10 previous years. Only going out when I truly, truly, truly needed things. Stocking up so I didn't have to go out for the foreseeable future. I didn't wear a mask. Pre-COVID. Because the mask it's a sugar pill. If it worked, why is everything escalating? And we can blame it on the non-maskers. We're always looking for the very first thing we see to blame it on. But, like those airlocks, right? On spaceships. Elon Musk yesterday said, well, I might just do the Starship. I might not just take it to Mars. I might just deploy it to take billionaires from LA to Paris in 27 minutes so that they can lunch in Paris. That's what Peter Diamandis shared yesterday. What humanity needs right the fuck now is invest in $100 billion in flying billionaires quickly around the globe to spend their money. I encourage you to check out my bit. Women are from Venus. Men can fucking not go to Mars until we meet the basic needs of every single Earthling. especially all of the lovable Africans who have been screwed over by Northern Europeans, since the mid 1400s. Africa had so many vibrantly skill. And what we've lost about the intelligence and the brilliance of our African ancestors, it's absurd. I literally just like had to like throw away a little piece of something because it feels to me like we threw away our humanity. The dehumanization that got spread by colonialization it preempted the natural evolution of our species. It made hate and greed especially. The hate comes from the greed, but it's the greed because the financial concept of capitalism it's a twin of racism. There would be no capitalism without slave labor, without exploiting labor of all types. $15 an hour is, at the very least, indentured servitude. How are you supposed to live when you get paid $15 an hour? But what it costs to live in your West Coast city, minimum, is $40 an hour. Where the fuck did $25 difference come from? Crime. What you supposed to do? When the gap from the basic amount you need to live a viable, free, independent, dignified adult life is $25 is far greater than what you actually make. The gap is twice as big as what you have to work with. So how did we get here? We need to come up with a really, trillions of reasons, right? We understand that. But we need to come to a core understanding so that there's a way that we can all go, yeah, right, now let's fix that. We're trying to independently demolish racism and create an actual, democracy of the people, not of just the billionaires. Okay. What happened to Northern European white men and women? I mean, the men is mostly in charge. The women, went along with it for their own safety, for their own coercion, but far too many of them enjoyed it. Far too many of them weren't taught to think, and so they can't see beyond the lies. Not teaching women to think. Putting women's brains always on what's wrong with their bodies rather than how they can use their wise feminine thinking skills to stop men from doing all this harm. No, focus them on body shame. That works. Here's the deal. I'll create a long process. There's a really, I really need to talk about migration, human migration. We're all African ancestrally. and get us in the mindset, get us all very comfortable with our inner Africans, as I am. Because, of course, red hair and freckles. Early adaptations that occurred before any human ever left the continent of Africa. Early adaptations, plenty of redheads. How do I know that for sure? I had asked myself this question and I didn't have the answer when I asked myself last night in the bit, but now I know. Because there's also redheads in Papua New Guinea. The current Princess of Morocco could be my sister. Current, right now, today. Historically, redheads in Papua New Guinea. We do sometimes just spontaneously combust. Like myself. The product of two parents with black hair. We're called genetic polymorphists. Sometimes that the genes don't seem to indicate, passed down redheadedness. Gotta have a redhead. Come try to make humanity humane for the first time after living a life of isolation and hermitage and deep philosophical thinking. She's prepared. Just when humanity's got all this chaos and nobody thinking clearly. Nobody's doing the synthesis. Okay, so I'm all broken. And let's all just get our basic premises sorted, which is that we should be keeping humans alive. We've got so much tech, we can literally change everyone's bank account tomorrow. Literally, get rid of debt. The economic system is not real. It's a concept. And we can just send the economic PhDs off to Necker Island or something and say, come up with something different. Let's make monopoly money for real. Get everyone the same amount of stuff. Engineer. Plan for 1 year. And on 2022, everyone gets a UBI. And we can freeze assets. We don't want to there's ways to do this, to fund it. There really is. If we're all locked in because of a virus, we don't need airplanes, international flights. We don't need defense budgets. I mean, well, now that everybody know how easy it is to take over the Supreme Court, the Capitol building. How did this happen? So I understand it's multifaceted, but we're trying to, and I'm not saying this is the definitive, but I'm saying this is a pretty valid premise over here. It's a good way to really quickly line it up. When we migrated north, which is what we had to do, rode across the Mediterranean, started coming northern. By the time it was time to, roll over to the UK, the climate started really creating pain for us. The climate was difficult to maneuver. Our bodies were evolving and adapting as quickly as they could, but just not doing it. So we started having to invent, clothes, a lot of clothes, not just let's keep the bits from put the bits away when we had to do some farming, some hunting and gathering. That's all the clothing you need in the right environments. But as it gets colder and damper and all kinds of pain comes from migrating. Newness. And yeah, we might have made houses in France, but you get the point. I can make it an actual, well, you missed the bit about everything is Africans who want row about. Yeah, I'm not about the brevity. It's really, it just should, here I am trying to make it better for you and briefer. And I'm like, no, but just go reference the original. Spend the 75 minutes. Get the whole gist. So making clothes and houses. We really need them to continue to stay put, to establish locales and residencies, to start intermingling as populations. You know, the whole ginger phenomenon, redheads, Scotland, whatever, required us to have really become prisoners to our stuff, our shelter, our clothing. We ended up with Stockholm syndrome to our stuff. Down near the equator, people remained hunter and gatherers until colonialization forced the rules of a civilization that had to be imprisoned in boxes to deal with the climate. The heinous spread of dehumanization is Stockholm syndrome that happened to the Northern Europeans who became enslaved to stuff, to property rights, to scarcity, to staying in place, to not moving and hunting and gathering with the animals, to you don't have the capacity, need, or even the urge to migrate when you just built a shelter. You nest, and then you get lazy, and then you lose the capacity to be in tune with all of the natural world. And then you have neighbors, and then you invent a printing press, and then you can start sharing. I wrote this down. This is a law. See, it's printed. This is the law. And then this little group of people are inventing because they're close together and they're moving around. They're not just always meeting new people. I just got this little village of people I know. And so you invent the printing press, ocean sailing ships, weapons. You have all these little things. Portugal's landlocked. They go and get some slaves, create slavery to give money to the king. Capitalism and racism twin from birth. Capitalism is only the current major dominant in the global financial sense economic system because of slave labor. Again, the $15 an hour. We are all suffering from a civilization based on the dehumanization of the Stockholm syndrome of stuff that happened in the mid-1400s. We made the shelters long ago. I'm not carbon date time stamping when we created shelters. Between then, there's all the Middle Ages. I mean, it was horrible, and then there's the sewers and all these things. And I don't really, how long it took us to get to the point of the mid-1400s and all of that. It's not important. Mid-1400s, the last 500 so years. Humanity's lost its soul, its capacity for life-centric thinking. Its foundational wildness, free-rangeness, openness for improvisation and performance and newness and migrating and adventure, discovery. We're not here to push the same piece of paper around every single day. We're not here to do this. Then next 90 days, do it better. Then the next 90 days, do it better and better and better and better. We're here to do something exquisite and rest a long time. And do something exquisite and fail. Then rest a short time and do even better than we have imagined. Is what this is. This is maybe third, fourth performance today. I'm good at this job. Not only do I have no idea how to get somebody to pay me for it, I don't have any idea how to get somebody to even look at it. 9 fucking months of COVID. Not even a single person has been like, wowzers. You are a great stand-up comic. Because I'm a stand-up philosopher. So there is that point. But again, I can improv like a motherfucker. And since I can't get anyone to pay attention to me anyway, creating a script, setting it up, I need to be able to improv. And so that's what I do. There's shows and shows and shows, and they're starting to come together a little bit more. There's definitely, hashtag redheaded She-Hulk, racism makes me angry. And there's, hashtag redheaded She-Hulk, chronic disease. Better be quaking in its boots. The concept of chronic disease is faulty. So that's what happens to me. I'm trying to force it to not be, I'm just gonna let it go. My brain just fritzed. There was the yawn associated. I'm scared. I'm alone. I'm certain. I understand being human in such a valuable way to save lives, to empower each individual to see the systems are broken and stop letting the systems tell you that you're broken. Trust the truth of your own body. Trust that I should show you. It's 5:49 p.m. The truth of my body, the yawn is, it's autonomic. And it's my body is proud of me for its mental capacities. But it's also done. I mean, Michael Jordan didn't dunk for 8 hours a day. He could have maybe marathon, charity. I'm not saying that he couldn't, but did he ever? Just dunk after dunk after dunk, 8 hours a day. Bathroom break, here and there. I mean, you wouldn't get paid if you took a lunch break. That's the rules of work. So 8 hours straight. Pay people by the hour, not by the, here's how much you need for all of the basics of food, shelter, raising kids. And that is why we're here, right? All the scientists, we just animals here to keep the species going. And yet, all I see happening, every interaction I have, nobody's got their eye on keeping the species from self-extincting in 30 years. It's a job for a philosopher, and I'm reporting for duty. I have been reporting for duty. I don't know. I'm telling you what, the feeling of that and the sound of it and the electrical intensity of that, does it feel like a flashing neon sign to you? Because that's what it feels like in my hand. Life-Centric Thinking. Yeah, my body wants me to pay attention. The electromagnetics of it all. Is the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity. And I've lived a life different than yours. And being so alone and so isolated. And spend the time, I knew I was all right. I totally about self-love. But I just didn't get to practice talking, practice conversations. I have them at a different level, deep level. Small talk is more complex to me. I mean, what's the point of it all? What's the point of, did not have any excess energy. Just be futzing around with things that made no sense. Like, I like to see somebody assess the cost of the emojis floating around every single day. It should be easy enough to get a tally of how many of them Jones is employed, how many come from corporate email. And then it creates this perception of influence. To people who don't really need it, need more of it. They already got. And then all of the legions of people who are just running around clicking likes and saying Great post. I mean, it used to be some conversation, but getting a conversation now these days, it's nearly impossible. I dedicated 5 years of my life to trying to build an online audience. And I'm not even at 3,000 people on LinkedIn. And that's all I got. There's under 30 of y'all on YouTube. Whatever it is on Twitter, I don't ever get a like. No, never get a retweet. Tweet. Nobody sees it. Is a philosopher down? All right. I do so enjoy the creative process of stream of consciousness. I enjoy bringing in things like, now the yawn has come into intense pressure, like just intense pressure. We haven't been taught, nor are we socialized in any way, to talk freely about the functioning of our bodies. We read it in books, and the books are wrong. And most of the academic biology, this was happening in college campuses with 20-year-old white men. And the medicines, the pharma, may be in a much more broad cross-section, but the academic research is all happening on 20-year-old white men in college. Predominantly. And maybe not even on purpose, but mostly on purpose. So, whiteness acculturated is being Stockholm syndromed by stuff. Acculturated whiteness is being Stockholm syndromed by stuff. This has been Deb Helfrich, hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. Stay sane, stay well, think free. All we gotta do is just think ever so slightly differently about life and learn the math of life, and we can upgrade this civilization. PDQ. Harmony, y'all.